Hey, hello, and welcome to Adafruit Show and Tell. I'm John Park. Today, I'm not Lamore or Phil or both of them. I'm me, and I'm guest hosting. But otherwise, you can expect a lot of the same kind of great stuff that you've come to know and love from Show and Tell, which is people from Adafruit and the community coming on to show and talk about their projects that they're working on. We have about a half hour, so we'll take a couple minutes per person and talk about what everyone is up to. And then we'll get out of here so that you can tune in to Ask an Engineer, which is coming up at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So first up today, we've got Anne. Let me bring Anne on. Hello.
Hi, John. A couple episodes ago, I showed a Raspberry Pi setup with a 12-year-old Motorola Atrix dock.
Yeah, I saw that. That was cool.
Keyboard. Yeah. I thought, okay, people don't want to hunt for 12-year-old technology. They want something new.
All right.
I want something new too. So I was thinking, okay, I need a screen, I need a keyboard, and I need a mouse, something, So
Sure.
I went to AliExpress, which I probably should have shopped Amazon first, but I wrote a whole blog post about it. I linked to it in the chat, and I'll show you the parts that I came up with, and maybe that'll help you do your. First of all, I know you like mechanical keyboards. This is a mechanical keyboard from Royal Kluge. It's the F68, but watch this trick.
All right. What? Unheard of.
So it folds in half and it comes with a little pouch. It has USB-C and Bluetooth for
That
3
is
devices.
wild.
And you can select your key pressure type. I don't think they're genuine cherry, but blue, brown, or red. And these, I couldn't find blue. I chose brown, but maybe I should have chosen red. I always somehow go to brown and regret it. My main driver is cherry blue. So, okay, this is the keyboard, and it's working pretty well. I'll let you know just quickly why I do it. I mean, I have kind of long nails, and the flat keys, here, I'll show real quick. This is a one of those HP tablet keyboards from way back when. It's Bluetooth also, and let's see, it was working. There you go. This works too, as well as this one. But the flat keys, my nails on them tend to slide, and it just doesn't work that well. So mechanical keys seem to work better. And I don't know. You're the expert. This cupping of the keys. I don't know.
The profile, like a DSA profile, or even the cherry profile has a little cupping.
Yeah. So that seems to help me in that. And in between, if I get a nail in between, I can actually get a finger press on it. So this kind of keyboard works better for me. And
question, does it work when it's folded? Can you like hold it like a weird like clarinet and
you
do
could
modern?
I saw a thing where somebody
Star Wars Cantina
Google
band
came up
style.
with a 3D Mobius keyboard that they have internally. They do. Yes, it is typing via Bluetooth onto.
That's so strange.
The word processor freaked out, but I don't even know if I closed the window or not. There it is. So this is just a word processor in Raspberry Pi. It's just a Pi 5 back here, like I had the other day. Now, the screen. I did get this from AliExpress. It was cheaper than the Amazon equivalents. It's a 15-inch. See how thin that is?
Oh, yeah, nice.
It's 15 inches, which is probably a little bigger than, I might have one for backpack, although a lot of backpacks can handle like a 15-inch laptop. But I mean, it's HDMI and USB-C. I connected a USB-C cable to my Samsung phone, and you can connect a couple different ways and use it too. So I turned down the brightness so you can see it, but bright, it's nice and bright. I watched video on it, and I really like it. So,
and sorry, did you say so that's getting powered from USB-C and it's getting video from HDMI from the Pi, or is it video over the HDMI?
Right now for the Pi, it's going HDMI here, and there's a USB-C power there. Although there's another USB-C port that can connect to the bottom of the phone and go like that. So the trickiest thing buying it off AliExpress was trying to find the menu item to change it from Chinese to English.
Right. Okay.
Because it doesn't have it. So, and then I just connected a cute little Microsoft Minnie Mouse as that. Although I'm really partial to something like this. This is just a regular wired keyboard, and it has a trackpad. And this kind of setup works really well for a Raspberry Pi. And they make foldable keyboards that have trackpads. So I'm toying with the idea of buying one of those and trying it out. But the keys will be flat like this, and so I'll probably regret it if I do. So
those are really convenient for when you're hooking up a Pi and you're like, the worst part about hooking up a Pi is finding a mouse, keyboard, and monitor and lugging them over to wherever you're trying to do your thing. So reducing that down to a smaller setup is nice.
That was my idea, is that I hated getting a normal monitor and a big keyboard and finding a mouse. And so this is my intermediate, is to have the keyboard and mouse in one. And now with this ultra thin monitor, that kind of eliminates lugging a huge one.
Yeah.
So, I wrote all this up in a blog post that I linked to in the chat. Let people know, and that may give you all some ideas about how you might want to do your setup.
Appreciate it so much. Thanks for coming on and showing that. Thanks for writing that up. That'll be a help. Take care, Ann.
Thanks, John.
All right, next up we've got Scott. Hey, Scott.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Thanks for hosting.
What's new?
Oh boy, we're in print debugging land still, but good news. So I'm working on CircuitMatter, which is a Python implementation of the Matter IoT protocol. And commissioning is the process of you got a new device out of the box and you want to get it on your network, in your Apple Home or whatever, and so that you can use it in your apps or your kind of ecosystem's native home thing. And commissioning is the process of getting a fresh device onto the network, and then it can just stay there and be a part of the network forevermore. And I got it working.
Commissioning done. It did it.
Got commissioning done today. So I'm just about to commit it to the repo. This is with the chip tool, which is the reference implementation. I did try it just briefly a little bit ago with my Apple Home, and it doesn't work. There's some other information that the Apple Home implementation is trying to get that I haven't implemented yet. So that's what I'm working on tomorrow, and I'd love to be able to get it on Apple Home. Yeah. And we'll go from there. Probably deep dive in on Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific. But I don't know if I mentioned it here, but we are, as you know, expecting our second kid in the next 4 weeks. So if I disappear, that's what's going on.
Yeah, that's what'll happen. I'll just mention this, since you and I were speaking before the show about this, for people who are interested in doing some of the home or the Apple integration stuff. One device they may have that may work for some of this as a hub is some versions of the Apple TV, which I didn't. Yeah, I don't have any hubs that work with Apple Home Kit right now, but so I'm just using my phone with a couple of smart plugs. But apparently, you were saying some Apple TVs might get you into that ecosystem as well.
Right. So there's 2 different capabilities that they'll talk about for Matter hubs. One is just Wi-Fi, which is kind of what we're targeting here, is you're already on the Wi-Fi network and now you want to be a Matter device. And then there's also this lower power protocol called Thread that kind of transports that Matter protocol on top of it. And hubs may support one or both of those things. And so the older Apple TVs do support Matter, but only over Wi-Fi, whereas the newer ones will also support Thread.
Right. And for for microcontrollers, if people want to do the thread side of things, it's the ESP32C6 Feather that we have out. I think is maybe one of the only ones we sell that would be ready for that protocol, for the threads protocol, right?
I think you're right. I think so. I think that's the one that has thread support as well. But that is not my focus right now.
Yeah, right now it's Wi-Fi and
Wi-Fi
Matter.
already on the network. Yeah, because it turns out if your device isn't on the network completely, it actually uses BLE to get it onto like a Wi-Fi network first.
Oh, okay.
Or onto a thread network.
Right.
But if it's already on the Wi-Fi, then you don't need to worry about the BLE.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Someone could write a nice piece someday about all of the crazy ways people have come up with for getting a thing onto your system that doesn't have a screen.
My goodness. Yeah, it's insane. Because there's like all these layers that I've been working through on the Matter side, and like it just does Matter protocol over BLE, and then you still have to have all these layers just to get on the network too. So it's,
one more protocol. Well, thank you for your work in this. We appreciate it so much. Make it much easier for us to deal with.
Yeah, and if folks want to follow along, it's all open source, so you can go to github.com/Adafruit/CircuitMatter, and it's currently I'm developing in desktop Python, and then we'll port it to CircuitPython later.
Got it. Great. Thanks so much, Scott.
Take
care. All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Jepler coming to the stage. Hello, Jepler.
Hello. So I posted up a little project on the Adafruit Playground, and actually, if you want to bring me back big, I want to see if I can catch the hologram here. I got one of those hologram print beds, and so it embosses
cool.
this itty bitty little design, and it can catch the light in different ways.
Oh, looks really nice.
So that was pretty cool. It's really finicky to print. Like here's the first one that I printed, and you can't put a bed adhesive on there, so the edge is just all curled up. And this is PLA, which is usually easy to print, but with a little more patience, some mouse ears, I got a pretty good print of it. So anyway, this is a countdown clock. I'm counting down to my next big international trip, which is in 25 weeks, 1 hour, or 25 weeks, 1 day, and 22 hours. This is backwards on my screen, so I'm having trouble reading it. Anyway, and I wrote up about both the process of developing the Python software, but also kind of developing this little stand, which is my own original creation. And so that's the part that I was most excited about because, I've done a lot of CircuitPython. I've done a little bit of low power, so nothing there was rocket science. But what I was really excited to learn about in FreeCAD. So Adafruit publishes a lot of their designs, including the design for this. So I should say this is a Adafruit ESP32 S3 Feather with PS RAM. And under it is a Adafruit e-ink Feather Wing, I think it's called, just the monochrome version. And Adafruit publishes that design open source on GitHub as an Eagle file. So if you bring back my thing here, you can actually go through a sequence of steps using all open source software. I'm on Linux. You can bring that PCB file into KiCad, then export that as a step file, and finally bring that into FreeCAD, and then you can locate dimensions off of that. So this little yellow-orange outline here, that's the actual PCB outline that Adafruit manufactures, and I could bring that in, and I could locate the center of those holes for when I was making the holes, for those matching screws. So I talk a little bit about that. You have to go through a couple of steps. You import Eagle into KiCad, then you export step from KiCad, and then you import step in FreeCAD. I hope I've gotten all that right. But once you've done those steps, you can select those points. And up to now, I would go to that downloads page and look at the dimensions that somebody would put on there and try to enter that in FreeCAD. And things didn't always end up in the right place, for a variety of reasons. And this I'll just do every time I'm making a 3D print for a circuit board now. If I have that open source file, which with Adafruit I almost always do. And I know if you're on Windows, this is probably a lot easier. If you've got that Eagle license and you've got that other modular license, but this you can do all with free software. It should work across all the operating systems, although I'm on Linux. And then it's just great because you get the holes in the right place. So I'm really excited about that. I also talk about how to use fonts. We've got this thing called the CircuitPython font bundle, and it can bring in fun fonts like this kind of high tech if it was the 1980s Orbitron, which
I
is
like
the
that.
font I
Yeah.
chose. And then I talk about how to create reliable code, how to create deep sleep code. This is covered in other guides, but this is kind of my take on it. Yeah, and so when we reach that date, it'll say go, 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 and I'll go get on an airplane. But that's not till next year. So
But do it in style. That's so great. Really nicely done. I love it. I actually really do love that holographic grading
Yeah,
surface print
it's-
thing. I've never
it's
played with
fun.
that. But it's such a nice
I'll do more like it. But yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Great
Right.
stuff.
I will
And
drop the link to that on the
Uh-huh.
Discord, but it's also on the front page of adafruitplayground.com right now. So check it out.
fantastic. Thank you, Jeff.
See you around, John.
Take care. Really cool stuff. Let's see. Next up, we got Noe.
Hey, what's up, John?
How are
It
you?
is-
What's going on? What's glowing over there?
Yeah, it is spooky season. So this is a little LED pumpkin that we found at IKEA, and we thought it'd be cool to turn this into a prop maker project. So in the base here, we have the speaker, and then we have a time of flight sensor, and then in the bottom here, we have the prop maker feather RP2040. So the idea is that we wanted to have kind of a prop that has different sound effects depending on how close you are to it. So let me trigger it, and we'll kind of hear some annoying laughter. So as I get closer to it, it gets more annoying.
No, that's great. So you're picking different like MP3 or WAV files to play based on that distance?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so right now in the code, the CircuitPython code, we have 4 different things. So like on the furthest away, it's playing the music. And then as you get closer, it layers different laughter over it. So it's kind of fun. Yeah, we definitely wanted to add this toggle switch to turn off and off for demo purposes because we can just keep going on and on, right? Yeah, we have a continuous servo on the inside that's doing the rotation, and that also changes as you get closer to it. So it'll kind of spin a little bit more sporadically as you get closer to it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to put together. The LED is just kind of stock.
I was looking at the guide and I really loved the mechanism you used for the rotation. Can you show that? Is that do you have to disassemble it a bunch?
Yeah, I would have to take these screws out because it won't come out unless you get the screws out. But so you can look at you can look at the guide if you want to look at the servo. But it's basically there's 2 gears, an internal gear, and then there's a 3D printed gear that goes on top of the servo horn. And that's kind of it, really. Let's do it one more time. Yeah, that's pretty much
well done. I really like it. And are these going out on the porch to?
Yeah, I think we're gonna put it on the porch and scare trick-or-treaters, or parents or whatever. Yeah. So,
cool.
Yeah, I think we got it just in time for folks to be able to build it. So first week of October.
Yeah.
We still have a little bit of time.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to get those Halloween projects out early enough for people to. But this is plenty of time for people to get parts and get to printing.
Yep, check it out. It's on the Learn system.
Thank you so much for showing that. Take care. All right, next up, coming from the same studio, it's Liz.
I hear that music in my dreams now. And I wrote the code, so I'm to blame. It's my fault.
Have to blame.
Yeah. But what I've been working on is we have a new. Well, there's my cat Winnie. And we have a new app, iOS app from Adafruit. It's a Snap app. Trevor's been working on it, and I've done a couple guides on it, and I'm really obsessed with it. Basically, it's a Snap acts as a bridge between your iOS device and Adafruit I/O. So if there's ever anything you wanted to get from your phone to Adafruit I/O, you can do that, or vice versa. So one of the first projects I did is I took my iPhone photos and I use a shortcut to encode the photos, send it up to I/O, and then this is a Qualia S3 running CircuitPython code that takes the encoded photo down from the feed and then displays it on the 720 by 720 display.
Cute.
And then I can even run the shortcut now, and we should get a new photo. It update on the feed, and then it should update on the screen. There we go. So
Boom.
Winnie and Harriet, not just Winnie. So in the guide, I detail how to set up the shortcut and everything to do that. And then one other thing I was working on this week with it is you can also Scott was talking about Matter, you can use Apple HomeKit devices with Adafruit IO. So you can log data. For here, I've been logging an Eve temperature and humidity sensor, and then a light sensor that's behind me. And you can also control devices. So I have a light strip behind me that's showing red right now. I can move the slider to 2, and then it should get really bright. Yes.
Boom.
And the way I'm doing that, it's a little complicated, so it's in the guide, but basically I'm using Adafruit IO actions to send a text whenever there's a new value on the feed, and then I have an automation that whenever I get a text from Adafruit IO, it runs a shortcut to update the scene for the lights.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then you can have it, a CircuitPython device like this feather, control it as well. So here I have, let me change the button. This button. Oh, I reset the board. But
Upside down.
You can send it from there too. So I'm really excited about it. It's a snap. I hope folks check it out. Trevor's worked really hard on it. He's continuing to add new features, and I think there's a lot of projects people can do now that they couldn't do before.
Very cool. And Eve, what is the Eve? Is that an ecosystem or?
So these are Matter sensors. So I'm really not into smart home stuff. But basically, Scott recommended the Eve sensors because they're easy to set up with HomeKit, and they're just a brand that makes sensors that are Matter compatible, which means they're more. I think they work with more hubs, basically. And so I have a temperature sensor and then a light sensor behind me too.
And whoops, let me pull that out. And I'm not an expert at this. We've talked about Matter now with you and with Scott. For people who don't know, it's kind of an attempt to make a standard that's not living inside of one company's silo like Google or
even,
Apple.
Speaking of IKEA, their hub now has support for Matter. So that makes their stuff accessible to more ecosystems as well.
Yeah,
more
that's
stuff accessible to it. So
very good for us, for consumers.
Yes, and then you can do open source stuff with it, and
Yeah. Excellent. Great. Good stuff. And so the photo, it's a snap phone to frame, is up now as a guide that people can check out. Yeah.
Yes. And the HomeKit one went live today too. And,
fantastic.
Yes.
Great work.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Liz.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Take care. All right. We've got a little bit of time to bring our next two guests on. We'll bring on Boian. Hello.
Hello, everyone. I will try to be quick. I have been working on the new version of VISUINO, and let me try to share the screen.
Sure.
Trying to figure out how to share the correct screen. So, what is it that you see on the screen? Is that VISUINO, or let me see? Screen 1, yeah, okay. Yeah.
I'm not seeing a screen. Here it comes.
I think we got it. I think we got it.
Got it.
So,
there it is.
Congratulations. I have been working on something new, and you're the first people beside me to see it. So this is absolutely new stuff, and nobody except you guys had seen it before. So I have been planning for quite a while to have custom hints for the board and some of the components in VISUINO to show the correctly selected board. So here I have Adafruit Feather RP2040, and as you can see, as soon as I move over, it is going to show me a hint for the right board. And I am mapping slowly all of the boards. I'm going to basically flatten it and see. As you can see, many of the boards are not yet mapped. I'm slowly going through them, but some of them are starting to show, and hopefully within a few weeks or something, everything will have the proper hint, depending on the device that you're trying to program. As example, I have already mapped over the TNC boards, the standard Raspberry Pi Pico boards, but that's not all. This expands also to the shields. So as example, I have mapped already a few of the shields here for the Feather. And it expands also to the components. So as example, If I search for DHT11, you can see the corresponding component. And if I search for motor as example, and if I go over the other fruit shields, because they're also mapped as components since they're I2C, you can see them here as well.
And if people bring those in like a particular shield, they're then able to incorporate it into the visual programming blocks.
Yeah. So I actually briefly will show you. So here is how it is done. It's open source. I mean, mapping all the components, and all the components are practically open source nowadays. You simply add a new image, set the necessary name of the component, and dot underscore dot makes it a hint. So as example, this is the I2C component. Okay, let's take, this is the motor driver shield, and this is the motor driver shield hint. So this is the icon for the component, like here, and the other one is the hint that will appear. So yeah, and I'm of course constantly mapping more and more components.
It's
that's not a surprise.
Yeah. A lot of work, I can tell.
Yeah.
A lot of words. Well, thank you, Boian. Thanks for bringing that on. We've got to move on to the next person, but looking forward to seeing more. Great work.
Absolutely. Good luck.
Thank you. All right, next up we got Jay. Oh. Hey, Jay.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. What is this? Let me go full view on that.
I have a brain in a jar.
Oh, you do?
This is just a small hack. I put a Bluetooth speaker with a cutie pie to hook up to this fun little brain speaker.
Cute.
So when it connects, I can actually, I've been using it mostly to program since I've been programming this guy's AI, but I've had a hard time getting it to actually, you know, stay connected. And I don't want to have to turn this on every time I work on it. So I created this. That way I can easily just mess with it and not have to turn on the robots.
Yes, like a simpler platform.
Yeah, I'm trying to get connecting it right now because it shouldn't be connected to my phone. I was using it as a normal speaker earlier today, but today has been a crazy day. Sorry, give me 1 second. Ah, is
there
it?
You go.
So it's connected to my phone now. So every time when sound comes out of it, the news is what I use for it this time around, light up. So if I play anything through it, the news start sequencing. You know that sound's being played. So yeah, I've been using it as just like a fun little quick build, nothing too crazy. It's resin printed, sanded.
Cute.
And I can easily open it and get show the cutie pie in there, just chilling in the middle.
Yep. I love it. And you're driving, are those like little PWM driven noodle LEDs going up into the brain?
Yep, gives it a lot of fun little characteristic, I think.
Yeah. Cool visualizer. Great build. Thanks for bringing that on, Jay.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Take care.
You too.
All right. Amazing stuff. Thanks, everyone, so much for bringing on your builds. We love to see it. And next up, we have Ask an Engineer coming up in about 2 minutes, 8 o'clock East Coast time. Come on back and watch that. All right. Thanks, everyone, for Adafruit Industries. I'm John Park, and this has been Show and Tell. We'll see you next time.